Hello everyone, this is Marie Manucherry. Thank you for listening to my YouTube channel. Thank you for liking and subscribing. And thank you for making comments. Those are very sweet. I do read all of them, and mostly Courtney will respond to them, but I do read all of them. Today, I thought I'd talk about something that's really powerful, highly necessary to incorporate in one's life as we progress, evolve, and move in what we would consider from the human perspective in a forward direction. And that is to be mindful of the areas of your life where you feel victimized. Yeah, that whole victimization, victim consciousness aspect of the human reality is something that we do need to rectify, hopefully sooner versus later. But it's really important to not speak about, not think about, not communicate with others in email or text messages the negativity of something that actually happened that was very difficult and challenging. Now, if something like that just happened to you, then that's different. You do need some time to grieve or move through the experience. But if we're looking at historical events a few years ago or many moons ago, and you are still looking at that event as something that's terrible and frightening and you want to avoid it ever happening again, then you are in a victimization pattern. Now, some people have many aspects of their life in some form of victimization. That's not a large percentage of people that I see. Most people who are attracted to my practice wouldn't be very comfortable if they looked at the world through a place of victimization, working with me, because I tend to be direct, and I believe in positive thinking, and I believe in letting go. However, we all have something. Most everyone does. I mean, I haven't met anyone yet that doesn't have some form of victimization in an area of their life. So we all have an area, at least one, in our life where it doesn't seem to work out well. We may feel betrayed or cheated or not heard or listened to. It could be a childhood experience. It could be related to work or money or a partnership. But it's something that it just keeps happening the way we don't want to happen. And that's what makes us feel like we're victimized. And when we stay in the frequency of victimization, we are literally recreating the pattern of being victimized again. Even if the characters change, the situation is different, but the outcome still feels the same. That means you're continuing to create, obviously unconsciously, moments of your life where you feel victimized. So there's several ways to approach this. One, if you have a historical event where you felt victimized, you can't talk about it anymore. If you've got friends that can go on and on about certain things in their life that were very negative and dramatic, that's not the best friend for you. And if you're going to have conversations that are happy and more fulfilled, that friend may not want to hang out with you anymore. They might think that it's a boring time because drama feels very fun and rewarding and fulfilling for a lot of people. You'll have to refrain from discussing the event. And I would ask that you don't text about it, don't email about it. When you notice that you're starting to get there to complain again about this thing that logically you have every right to be upset about, to be disappointed, to wish had it happened differently, you have every right to all of those feelings. But as long as you stay in that place of, I can't believe this happened again, and this thing is 20 years old or 10 years old or 5 years old, you are perpetuating that same sort of experience to happen again in your life. What would be great is if you could remember the good things about that part of your life or that moment of time in your life, because there's always good in everything. And those are the areas I want you to stay focused in. Stay focused in the cheerfulness, the happiness, the cool moments, because they're there. You may not think they're there because you might be so tunnel visionally focused on the victim moment of that experience, but I promise you it's there. And because it's there, it's going to be very important for you to remember that. Talk about that. Write about that. Tweet about that. Share that, because now you're moving into a place of expansion. You're moving into a place of co-creation with the universe. You're telling the universe every time you catch yourself, and it literally is a catch because it's so automatic in the human realm to complain and be disappointed. when you catch yourself and then you stop, and you can see your mind thinking, oh, I'm going to tell that story again, and I even know it in better detail now. Ooh, I've got the pinpoints of every moment that would be really exploratory, and people would be shocked and feel sorry for me, and would maybe comfort me for a few moments. That's literally what's going on in our minds. Or how can we best describe that terrible moment so we can really share how that other person or that circumstance was terrible and so undeserved. Well, you get very good at this, but you're going to catch yourself and you're not going to say a word, even though it just wants to come out. It's a pattern. It wants to come out. It wants to come out. You're going to catch yourself and you take a few deep breaths and you're going to talk about something very different, or you have pre-paved new things to talk about in that category or that area of your life, and that's what you're going to bring up. So you're going to think about the positive aspects of that moment of your life. Let's say you had a job and you loved the job, but let's say you had a terrible boss that was really abusive, like just not a kind person, but you loved your job, you loved your other co-workers, and it was very difficult several years before you finally quit or got fired or, the terrible story continued. And so obviously you remember how mean that boss was. You could describe that boss, you could complain about it, especially if you meet up with your colleagues. What are you going to talk about? The terrible things that happen. Instead, when anyone approaches the subject, even if they were part of the subject, your lips are sealed. You're going to take deep breaths and you're going to search your beautiful mind. You're going to manage your brain to come up with something that is relatable, but is kind. It was fun. It was a powerful, positive moment for you in that scenario. And I want you to continue to manage your mind to only go to this part of your memory. The more you do that, the more quickly you will create better outcomes in that arena of your life. So if we're still talking about someone who had the job that I just described, and they quit or they got fired, they're no longer working there, and they're no longer collaborating in the victimization of that experience that they had, even though it was logically valid. And they start speaking about, remember that day when it was Jennifer's birthday at work and everybody brought flowers and candles? Remember the Christmas party, 2 years ago? Focus on that and what you're doing when you do that, because the universe is always listening to you. It's like, what is he or she saying? What are they talking about? Because you are sending a vibration to the universe, and the universe is only responding in kind to your frequency. Like attracts like. It's a powerful truth of quantum physics. And thankfully, quantum physics proves that spirituality is real. So instead, you're talking about the happy moments. And I don't care how insignificant they are or how they may feel superficial. Doesn't matter. Whatever they are, you're focusing on that. Now what you're doing is you're communicating to the universe that you no longer have those experiences and only wonderful bosses come in your life. Or maybe you're a boss now. And because of your previous experience, you know how to be a great boss, and you are kind to your employees and generous to them, exactly the way you knew and know that you deserve to be treated. So, victim consciousness is a real thing. People spend years, decades sometimes, reliving horrific events or very challenging events that their mind has perceived as terrible. And they keep reliving them, talking about them, sharing those stories, become so vivid. It's like a Broadway musical. Please don't put your energy in that direction if you don't want to be a victim and if you want to feel empowered. And whatever the area of your life is where you feel unempowered, then you must stop the vibration of victimization. Have a good day.